I mean, how many complaints have you had about your conduct over your career?
Well, certainly I've had no complaint about my conduct in an awful long time.
Okay. When you were at NERC, did you have any complaints about your conduct there?
At NERC?
When you were at Leicester University?
I don't recall.
Okay. Did you ask anybody to sign a non-disclosure agreement, or did the system ask anybody and to leave their post?
At NERC or at Leicester?
Yeah.
Regarding me?
Mm.
I don't remember any such instance.
I very deliberately moved to John Mason, despite wanting to follow up from Willie Rennie's points, because sometimes when you're asked immediately, it doesn't trigger in your memory, but you go on and discuss another subject and then come back to it. So at any point in your recollection, in your time at NERC, were there issues with staff working under you, complaints made against you about your behaviour and how they were resolved?
So in my time at NERC, there was one member of staff who did make a complaint against me, and that was about overbearing behaviour. I'm not going to mention the individual's name in public. And in terms of how it was resolved, at some point that individual moved on to another job across the research councils, but I wasn't involved in that process, so I can't say, in answer to Mr. Ronnie's question, was there an NDA or a movement? I simply don't recall that. I wasn't involved in that.
Mr. Rennie's first question was, were there any complaints about your behaviour? You now seem to know an awful lot about this case.
I mean, have you reminded me of that? Yeah.
Did you deliberately not answer Mr. Rennie earlier?
Well, I've very deliberately been really clear now.
Because you're being pressed.
Well,
but why couldn't you remember it just a few minutes ago?
Your comment, convener, is quite right. Okay, that sometimes, when the question's asked, it's what? And then you reflect on it as the next question comes in. So I've reflected, and I've done exactly as you suggested. And I'm grateful for you coming back on that.
Because this individual, has outlined what it meant to them, and they actually say, a decade on, they can't talk about some of the ways you treated them and others because it's too upsetting. A decade on,
well,
you're still having an impact.
I'm very disturbed to hear that.
I'll take Willie Rennie in just now.
Two questions. This individual also said that there was others at Leicester University that knew about your behaviour, and it was widespread, widely known. And secondly, you said that there's, in your first answer to me, you said certainly not in, I can't remember what period you said, but I'm sure you implied Dundee. So other than Leicester, before Leicester, any other times of any other complaints that you were aware of, or people objecting to your behaviour? Was there any of that at any time? Come on, you would remember about these things, surely, because they're a direct criticism of your behaviour. I would certainly know if people were complaining about my behaviour. Nothing else.
Well, we just discussed NERC.
Mm-hmm. So, other than that, none at all.
You're taking me back into civil service now. Gosh, it's a long time ago. I'm sorry, I don't recall.
Okay. If you remember by the end of the meeting, can you take the opportunity to correct us? Yeah? Be grateful for that.
I'll reflect on that as we go through the meeting.
While this committee's been meeting this morning, the individual who complained about you, at NERC has communicated back to me. The individual says, "Thank you," in capital letters. "I did not move to another research council. I left completely and went to a university, completely broken. I lost a lot, including my final salary pension."
I said that I couldn't recall where that individual went. I knew that. I believe that individual went back to the research councils, but
the words are completely broken. The
Yes,
words
no,
are
I've heard that.
final salary
I've heard
pension.
that.
And there's no point in going over it again. But to deny it initially, and then for this person to feel so strongly about it and to have affected their life so deeply, for you not to recall, I'm afraid that tells us a lot about you.